So, welcome everybody to this month's community update. It's April 2024, and as always, this month we'll give you the updates of what's been happening, what's coming up, and everything that's worthy to talk about at Onino. And I would say let's jump right in. So, again, as every month, we talk about what is Onino, and we give you a little explainer. And this month, Lucas will give you, in his words, what Onino is.
All right, welcome everyone. A little bit of a different time than usual, but I hope we still have a great update for this month. So for everyone that is new, what is Onino? You can see it in the claim right here. Onino is aiming to make blockchain technology accessible and user-friendly. But what is this exactly? Onino is a German blockchain startup founded in 2021. And we've been on our journey ever since, and have got great support with the great community behind us. Have been building up on our base since then. And when we started Onino, we saw that the blockchain technology itself offers a vast potential for multiple industries out there, but there's a huge roadblock in terms of how fast it gets adopted, like it is always with new technology, because there is such a high overhead of complexity aligned with it. And that complexity is not only on the development side, but also on the user side, but these go always hand in hand. And so what we are building in terms of our products are essentially two things. One is our cloud developer platform, a fully native cloud platform where anyone with any level of experience can easily ideate on what they can do with blockchain, and then translate what they've learned through the ideation directly into the development, and also deploy their applications to any network and also directly on the Onino blockchain. And then also a really important step, integrate those solutions into existing frameworks, or just integrate it into a new website or web app, for example. All this helped by our specifically trained AI assistants and supported by a vast template library to kickstart your blockchain development journey. And the other thing, which is the base layer for everything we do, is our own native blockchain. So our own native blockchain, or blockchain framework, you can say, is split in two parts. One is the Onino main chain, which is the underlying layer for everything that is built on top of Onino. In itself, it is facilitated through a DAG-based consensus, allowing it to have much faster and much more cost-efficient transaction times, and allows nodes to process transactions in a parallel fashion. And on top of the main chain, we have built a framework for companies and developers to spin up application-specific and use case-specific sub-chains that they can fully customize. And all this will be made available through our cloud platform, and will be ready to use for everyone who wants to spin up their customized subchain on top of the Onino protocol within minutes, essentially. And with that, we go out and offer companies and other developers the opportunity to leverage blockchain where it makes sense, to increase the efficiency in their enterprises, and also just create value streams where there have been no value streams before. And this is our part that we take in bringing blockchain to the next step of adoption and making it much more accessible and user-friendly.
All right, perfect, Lucas. Thank you so much. And with that, let's jump right into the community shout out. And this month, we say a big thank you to Cryptographic and Big Fibo for being active on X and sharing our tweets, sharing knowledge about what we do. And yeah, just all the rest of the community as well. So it's only the two that stand out here, but we see, or try to see, each and every tweet and each and every message that you post here and on all the other media. So thank you so much for standing behind us, spreading the word, and yeah, bringing Onino to more and more people. So today we will give you a cloud platform update, a blockchain update, a partnership update. We'll talk about events. we'll talk about Kadaiko, and we will jump to the questions at the end. And I would say let's jump right into the cloud platform update, and Kai is going to take over.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex. Also, warm welcome from my side. So as always, as every month, we're going to give you a little update on what is currently going on behind the scenes of the Onino cloud platform, how development is processing, what we are planning, and what we are doing in the background. So first of all, just a little superficial thing. We have talked with a lot of community members, also a lot of partners, development agencies we have talked to, and also have wrapped our heads around how we could best communicate our product. And that's why we came to the conclusion that we want to rebrand, just like one little word, we want to rebrand the platform from Onino Cloud Platform to the Onino Developer Platform, simply because that name just gives a more speaking description of what the platform actually does, and who it is targeted to. So just so you're not confused, from now on we will be talking about the Onino Developer Platform, and you will also see the new name in the app itself and on all websites soon, just so you are informed. Then, as you have noticed, there was not a direct functionality update of the cloud platform in the last month. That was, on the one hand, of course, due to the fact that we have been to a lot of events and spreading the word about Onino, which we will also get more insights on later on. But also mainly because we are currently, the Onino platform is undergoing a major update, a major restructuring. Also, we have gathered a lot of feedback from our partners, from users, based on the platform's features that we are planning. We will restructure the app. Currently, the app is like, the process is on the app, and that you are guided through a 4-step process, and it goes through the ideation of the project, over the development, via the deployment up to the integration part, which is quite a fixed linear process. And we are now developing a lot more features. For example, the Onino Smart Contract API, the Onino Smart Contract Analytics features, that are also especially useful for people who also have some deployed smart contracts up and running. And yeah, just because it doesn't make any sense for already deployed smart contracts or projects to go through this whole process from beginning to the end. We just want to split it up a bit and want to structure the app and rather by its different features. So for example, somebody who also have, let's say, a DeFi protocol deployed could then, doesn't have to go through the whole process. It could then just easily import the already deployed smart contracts and then leverage all the features, such as the Onino Smart Contract Analytics, where they can see detailed insights on how their DeFi contracts are behaving, or the Onino Smart Contract API, where they could basically easily integrate it. And they could then use these features super easy, without having to skip, so to say, the first two phases of the complete blockchain development process. So yeah, this is basically, as I said, based on a lot of talks that we had, and also in to sum it up, kind of broadens the potential users for our platform a lot. So yeah, because yeah, as you can think, so to say, the market and potential user base, I would say, for already deployed projects and also smart contracts, is definitely larger than just having new projects. So yeah, we just want to expand the user base, and then we also want to create a broader audience for the Onino platform, and therefore also the Onino ecosystem. And also, we have worked together with a professional designer who has created amazing new UI designs and a fully professional design system for the Onino platform, which we are currently applying in the background. So you can also look forward to a totally polished and revamped design of the Onino platform that further increases the user experience on the platform, and especially that also perfectly matches the new updated designs that we currently are featuring on our Onino.io website, on our homepage. So yeah, you can stay tuned for that. It's a rather large process that the platform is currently undergoing, some rather large changes, but I'm totally convinced that every one of you will like it. This is definitely for the good of the platform. And yeah, it will definitely make an even greater user experience and also increase our potential user base for the Onino platform. And if you have any questions, if you have any feature input, just feel free to hit us up, and we will see if we can integrate this into the Onino development process.
All right, perfect, Kai. Thank you very much. With that, let's jump right into the blockchain update, and Lucas is going to take over here.
Okay, as already announced in the middle of last month, we have released a completely new block explorer, which might not seem as too much of a deal for some, but it actually is a really, really big step forward in terms of increasing the usability of our network, because it is a completely overhauled interface with a plethora of new functionalities. For example, some of them is just the general increased user and improved user experience and transparency. You can now verify contracts and also interact with contracts. You have a completely overhauled charts and stats page where you can, especially also interesting for developers, you can really dig deep into the metrics of the network. And you can also see how you have to optimize your app that is running on a smart contract to also save fees and to get the best out of it. And also for developers, you have direct access to APIs. So if you have not seen the new Explorer yet, feel free to visit testnet.explorer.onino.io, and you can see that we took a great step forward in terms of making everything that happens on the chain also transparent and visible for you and readable for every user out there. And in the next section, I want to focus a little bit on the interoperability in terms of how do subchains communicate with each other, and also how does communicating between our main chain and other public networks function in the Onino ecosystem. So can we move the slide, please? Perfect, thank you. Here you can see like a little basic graph or a depiction of how the possibilities look like when you have a subchain and the main chain in our network, how they communicate with each other. So we start at the top. There's always an application that is run either on a subchain or directly on the main chain. And then when you go to the subchain, there has to be an establishment of a way of communication between the subchain, the main chain, and also between a subchain and another subchain. Because one of the main positive factors of blockchain is that you have composability within a system, which basically means that you have everything run on one system, and you don't have, for example, like we have it currently, you have a banking app, then you have an online shop, but you have to connect your banking app to your online shop and go through very different steps to just facilitate a payment. In blockchain, everything runs on one system because everything is built as smart contracts on one blockchain. And this is a big step we want to facilitate with our whole subchain architecture. And the main thing we have to explore here is in the interoperability of things. So there are, generally speaking, there are different ways to facilitate a bridge between subchains. I want to mainly focus on a direct bridge, like subchain to subchain, or a bridge through the main chain. And what we will be facilitating for subchains in our ecosystem is a trustless interoperability between subchains, so that there is no party involved that has to be trusted, in terms of that there is no centralized entity, that everything is basically verified through, you could say, just by cryptographic proofs, ultimately bringing the highest level of security that we can provide to users and also subchain operators. And how that works is that the subchains will not be connected through a direct bridge, but through anchoring and native transfers on the main chain. So that essentially, let me just break it down to you shortly. But you will have the opportunity to take a much closer look in our docs once released. You essentially transfer an asset between a subchain to another subchain through locking it, anchoring it on the main chain, and then releasing it again on another subchain. So you have a completely chain of proof, of cryptographic proof, from one subchain A to a subchain B, and also completely on the main chain, while having the highest level of security in terms of bridging, as there are no traditional bridging contracts involved. And it also is highly efficient. And this is, for us, are confident is a big plus point, as it provides a native communication protocol for every subchain, and it also provides a much needed level of interoperability, which also in enterprise context is really needed, and also not only needed, but most of the times necessary, as you want to have systems that are cooperative and not built in silos. But that leads to one main question, as we are only talking about subchains. But if you kind of think about the whole chain of an asset, for example, before it arrives on a subchain, it has to sometime arrive on a main chain, for example. And that leads to the question, how do we make our main chain interoperable? And that brings us to a really exciting announcement we want to make in this community update, which is a huge step forward for us at Onino, and also for making the mainnet much more accessible, is that we officially partner with Change, formerly known as Change Finance, to enhance not only the accessibility and interoperability of the Oni token, but also the interoperability of our main chain. There will be a much more detailed official announcement post, but I just want to briefly go over 4 of the key points that this partnership offers to Onino and also offers to our community. Is, on one hand, Change will allow interoperability with up to 55 different networks, which are integrated currently. It is powered by the distributed control rights management technology. In other words, it's powered by really innovative technology run on through the Fusion blockchain, and that essentially leads to Change never having any security issues, and they never had in the past. Then the integration will be directly accessible through all Change applications. So it's either the web application for everyone that is using blockchain and crypto more on their desktop, or on their mobile app for everyone who's using it on their mobile phones. So the Oni token will be accessible there, and once live, also a direct bridge to our mainnet will be live there directly. And it, in general, which will be accessible quite soon, is the seamless cross-chain transfer of Oni through the Change, not finance anymore, applications. And in the future, also multiple other tokens to and from our mainnet. So as you can see, it is, as Niels writes already in the chat, Oni goes cross-chain. And we always were believers that the future will be multi-chain, and this is a big step forward for Onino itself, as we will be venturing into exactly that multi-chain future and making everything that is related to Onino, our mainnet, and the token accessible to so many more people out there.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucas. And with that, if the slide wants to change, it does. Let's jump right into the partner update.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex. So as some of you have already seen in the last blog post, but just to announce it again, we would like to announce that Onino is officially joining Google Cloud's Web3 startup program. And this is really great news for us as Onino, as it brings several different benefits for us as a company, but also for our technological ecosystem, but also for our community. So let me just go a bit more into detail on why this is great for us and what we can draw from that as Onino. So on the one hand, which is great, we are now getting access to the broad technological resources of Google Cloud. And partnering up with Google Cloud is a huge benefit for us when it comes to everything around node deployment, like basically bringing the node that joins the blockchain into production, so to say. And just to give a little perspective on this, so as some of you may have heard, the so-called node hosting diversity is quite an important topic in blockchains. And let's just see a bit what that means. So imagine, for example, you have a global blockchain network that consists of hundreds or thousands of nodes also that are spread across the whole globe. Now, this seems pretty decentralized at first sight, right? But now imagine that 70%, maybe all of these nodes, are running, for example, on AWS. Then suddenly it would be not so decentralized anymore. So just imagine there's an AWS outage, and then basically when your whole blockchain is super dependent from AWS, then your blockchain would simply crash in such a situation. So obviously, for the sake of true decentralization and also for the aspects of security and uptime, this is something you definitely want to avoid, to be too dependent on one cloud provider for your blockchain. So while we are already partnering up with AWS and have joined their startup program as well recently, this is why we are now also partnering up with Google Cloud, just in order to create a very easy and user-friendly way together with Google Cloud for our community members, for our partners, to give them an easy way to deploy their Onino blockchain node on Google Cloud as well. And additionally, on the not so technical side, also from a business and partnerships perspective, this is great for us, just because being part of the Google Cloud Web3 startup program, and it just gives us access to their whole community and also gives us very valuable and direct connections to all of the other startups in the program. So this can also potentially bring a broad variety of benefits for Onino. So it can start with just having access to useful tools that we can use internally to speed up and improve our processes. For example, if you have any developer toolkit partners in the program that we can then easily use and build together with them. But also potential partnerships can arise from that. And for example, in the sense that we can easily get contact to all of the other startups in the Google Cloud Web3 program, and just build projects together with them, onboard them as customers for the Onino platform maybe, and in the long run onboard them as well as new customers, new users, and also new meaningful projects for the Onino blockchain. So great news. And if you have any more questions, just feel free to Google the Cloud Web3 startup program or just hit us up. And with that, I would just jump to the next slide, but we have another announcement to make. So that's not the only partnership news for today. We'd also like to announce that we are officially joining the Microsoft Founders Hub. There's like another startup program from Microsoft. And basically the benefits are rather the same as I have told already for Google Cloud. Also for similar reasons, as mentioned before, the diversity of the places and providers where your blockchain nodes are deployed is extremely important. And the more scattered this is, so to say, on the more different kinds of cloud providers your blockchain is based on, the better. So definitely by partnering up with Microsoft, we can now just collaborate with them, work together with them, build together with them, and also provide a very, very easy to use and simple onboarding mechanism to run your own blockchain node, not only with AWS and Google Cloud, but also with Microsoft Azure. As I said, just great benefits to have a lot of different cloud providers, where it's easily possible to start and run your own in your node. Also, when you just think of the aspect, there's basically a lot of developers who only use Azure. There's some who only use AWS, some who only use Google Cloud. And when you have, for all of these three cloud providers, you have an option to easily run and deploy your blockchain node. This also increases the potential target group for everyone who could run an Onino node a lot, just because we offer all these different cloud providers to run your Onino node. As I said before, great to have these partnerships with Google and Microsoft. We're very glad that we have been accepted in the program and are partnering up with them. And I'm personally 100% convinced that this will definitely benefit the Onino blockchain network and thereby also our ecosystem in the long run a lot. Same as I said before, for the non-technical side from Google, that it also applies for Microsoft. We now have a direct connection to all of the other startups in this program, and therefore also have a great way to easily get in touch with potential new clients, with potential software development partners, and so on. And the great thing as well on Onino joining the Microsoft Founders Hub is that currently we're also using already Microsoft Azure to host our Onino AI assistant for the platform, just because we want to have it in an isolated deployment instance, so that we can fulfill all the GDPR requirements by not having the data hosted in the US. And by having this collaboration with Microsoft now directly, we can also explore a lot of other benefits, a lot of other opportunities to further increase and further improve the Onino AI system directly together with Microsoft Azure. So great news for us. We're very happy to be on board with these two programs and to partner up with Google and Microsoft. And as I said, if you have any more questions on these two partnerships, just let us know.
All right, perfect. Kai, thank you very much for this update. And with that, let's jump right into the events. As you have seen, and as we have discussed already, we have been on many events last month, and we are continuing to be on many events. This has been a little test run to see what events help us for Onino, for community building, for building the brand, as a marketing measure. So what we've done so far this month is, on one hand, we have been to the SXSW, the South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. This has been our first overseas measure, so this was really great to be there and talk to people that are far outside of our normal community. And it's been great to connect with people in the US to see what companies are doing there, what the trends are happening. You see it on the left side as well. Austin is an amazing city. If you haven't been there, I can only recommend it. So that's been a really great time connecting with like-minded people and seeing how trends happen and building up potential partnerships. So the second thing has been Start Summit in St. Gallen in Switzerland. You see it in the middle picture, Kai and I were there, and we had the best stand in the whole summit. So there was the entrance in the middle, and we were right there. So many people seeing us, and many people asking us and discussing with us what we're doing. And again, possibility to build the brand for Onino to be seen by many people, potential partnerships, potential customers, potential investors as well. So interest from many people. That's been really great. And then just last weekend on Thursday and Friday, we were on Q Summit in Mannheim, just around the corner, just an hour drive from here. And that's been great as well. Kai and I were there again, and representing Onino to many young people, but companies as well. And there were big companies like Porsche and big legal companies from Germany, big financial institutions. So it's been great there as well, representing Onino. And in general, I can say that it's been really great to be to those events, to talk to people, to get direct feedback. And as opposed to normal marketing that you maybe somehow know from crypto blockchain companies, being there in person, talking to people is great as well. It's very different, and it may not be the typical marketing measures that you see, but for us as a company, as a project, it's really helpful to get direct feedback, to not have an ad on Twitter where there's some budget being spent and you don't really see what happens in the end. There you really talk with people, you shake hands, and as all of you know from your day-to-day jobs, shaking hands is something very different than just getting a Telegram message that may or may not get lost. So this is really helpful, and I think this is a very sustainable way for us to do marketing. And we will add this to our portfolio, and there will be many marketing measures, and this will be one of those. And what's coming up now, and what's also the reason why we are having the AMA now, or the community update now and not later this evening, is that we are going to Paris Blockchain Week this week. And we're sponsoring as well, which means that we will on one hand be appearing there as a sponsor. On the other hand, we have a stand there, so we'll be representing Onino again. This time Kai Lux and I will be there again. And Paris Blockchain Week, I think, will be the main event amongst the others that we've talked about, because it is the Paris Blockchain Week. So it is really tailored to blockchain, as opposed to the other events where there's everything regarding tech. So this will be our home ground, and we're really looking forward to see how it will be. And we will be posting photos, we will be telling you how it's been, and you can look forward to us being there. And if you are there, we are at S14, so stand 14 in the startup area, and feel free to visit us there. And if you want to see that we sponsored the Paris Blockchain Week, it's parisblockchainweek.com/sponsors, and there you can see the list of all the sponsors, and Onino being amongst one of them. So another thing that was happening last week is Kadaiko. You know our customer Kadaiko. We have been working with them for a long time now, and they have had their third sale last week, the public sale, and it was a huge success. They sold out the sale completely in less than 6 hours and reached hard cap of 500K, which is a huge success for Kadaiko, and a huge success for us as well, because they used our framework, the token state framework created by Onino, the launchpad created by Onino. So we were following them and supporting them right from the start. We helped them develop the idea. everything from white paper, website, token sale framework, tokenomics, and everything that goes into it. And it's a huge testament to Kadaiko and the Kadaiko team, but also Onino, because we've been a very close part from the start. And yeah, also helps us to see that what we have created 2.5 years ago with Onino and the way we funded Onino is still a way that is very viable to fund companies even today, and opens up many more possibilities for a proven way to help more companies. So the Onino Launchpad will be only growing from now, and there will be more and more projects in time. So you can look forward to that. And that's really great news for us, great news for Kadaiko. And they will also be one of the first companies having a subchain on Onino and many other things to come. So stay tuned for Kadaiko and Onino and the Onino State Framework and Launchpad. So with that, let's jump right into the questions and let's see what you asked us this month.
Yeah, so I would just dive in and start off with the first questions on the Onino mainnet. So as also we have structured the questions a bit into different categories, and just so we don't have to jump back and forth between different kinds of questions. And yeah, the first category today is everything around the Onino mainnet. First question is, any specific dates for the mainnet release? So yeah, as we already mentioned in the last community update, there's still some open ends, some loose ends that have to be tied up. So yeah, we have made a lot of tests during our test and have made a lot of realizations, have had a lot of learnings, and are still implementing them into our node client to improve the testnet further before transitioning into the mainnet. That is also exactly what the purpose of a testnet is, right? You want to test it, you want to see how the code behaves in practice, and then want to make any more improvements to make it even better. That's exactly like the purpose of the testnet. And we first want to finalize and then also test again all these changes that we are making. And on the other hand, we are also waiting on this to finish before we can get an exact estimation on when the security audit is will probably be completed. And because yeah, obviously we do not want to launch any mainnet and bring it into production and create a blockchain with value behind it if that is not completely and fully audited, and we can all be sure that all funds are safe that will be transferred to the blockchain. And yeah, while these 2 points are still open and in progress, so to say, until then we don't not want to communicate any official date. But as soon as we can tell anything, we will give you, of course, an update as soon as we can. Then we have the second question, a bit on another level. Once the mainnet is released, would it be possible to create meme coins in the chain? Yeah, so as you know, this is definitely not our main focus with the Onino network, as we are focusing on, so to say, industry value for banks, applications in the real world, as you all know. But yes, if you want to, you can, of course, definitely create any meme coin you want on the Onino chain. Yeah, it's an open decentralized network. You can create anything basically on it. So if you want to create a meme coin, this is definitely also possible. But yeah, it will just not be our main focus in communication and in project onboarding to have meme coins on the network. All right, and with the next question, I would just give that further to Lucas.
Okay, and the next question is, how will Onino ensure real projects are built on its mainnet? There's concern that the activities on the testnet, such as the creation of meme coins, may not translate into serious projects on the mainnet. Are there concrete examples of projects building valuable infrastructure like a decentralized exchange for the mainnet? Of course, what is a real project? But let me try to answer it in a way that satisfies whoever asked that question. We do have an overview of all the visible stats, for example, contract creations and so on testnet. And of course, while the current level of transactions per day is low, it is always a matter of what are we expecting out of a testnet? Are we expecting to see immediate numbers like, for example, on a Binance chain? Of course not. Are we expecting to see the same level of builders attracted like any network out there that is backed with multiple millions up to hundreds sometimes by a VC and is able to offer multi-million grants in their native tokens? Of course not, because this is not us. We have launched just through our community and a few individual backers, and we are bootstrapping our network, if you want to say it like that. But we are still receiving on a weekly basis huge interest in our architecture and huge interest in not only building on top of our main chain, but also building direct subchains. And there we have to always differentiate between, are these builders that just want to build something on our network, or are these active sales approaches we as a team make by going out there on trade fairs, events, and just talking to other companies about Onino. And what I can tell you is not directly names of projects, because some of them have not even formed their legal base yet and have not formed their names. Some of them are projects with different companies that are in their infancy, and some are just not ready to go live yet and thus not be announced with corresponding partners. But I can tell you some examples of project types we're currently talking to, and also project types we currently have focused on. One would be a general carbon credit market, some NFT solutions, of course, the bridge infrastructure, which we just also talked about in terms of change and the integration there. Then the tokenization of financial assets, and also tokenization of other assets, like that would go more into real world category, and also platforms that will marketing in the Web3 space much easier. And of course, our focus is to also provide the necessary app infrastructure for users with the launch of our mainnet. Why we are currently actively in talks with other decentralized exchanges for integrating with the Onino main net. So be aware that this is something we are actively pursuing, but it does not always move as fast as some community members would love to see. Some things, especially in a B2B context, do not happen in days. This does take weeks and months.
Thank you very much, Lucas. I will just take over the next question, which is kind of following up on this. Will partners under NDA be revealed when the mainnet is live? Yes, definitely. So everything that is currently under an NDA will be revealed, but only when the project or the milestone, or for example, the go live is achieved. That totally depends on the project. Like, we're working with different partners with different projects. Each of them have different timelines for the project as well, which are not necessarily aligned with our mainnet. So it can be, for example, that one project has actually their stuff up and running already before the mainnet launch. Some will also have it later on. So yeah, you can't really totally put this in one bucket and say that we will all release them when the mainnet is live. And this totally depends on the different clients. So for example, one concrete specific example that we can give you without saying a name is it's currently one startup which is just incorporated, and they have not even released their own website yet, but are still already building and testing smart contracts on Onino testnet. But yeah, they, as I said, have not officially even announced the project, have released their website not yet. So also, of course, we cannot communicate anything about them as well. But yeah, stay tuned. We've got some interesting news upcoming. And yeah, as soon as the partners are ready, we will definitely announce them. Yeah, with that, I think we can proceed to the next category of questions.
So, Launchpad. There's a couple examples, but the first three in general are around how can you help for the Onino Launchpad, or how do we help projects and companies in the Onino Launchpad. First one is someone that says he has a small sofa manufacturer business and wants to sell sofas with NFTs, smart contracts on the Onino blockchain to launch on the Launchpad. This is generally something that can be done from a technical perspective. It would be the Onino developer platform in this case, so you would develop your solution there, or you could reach out to us to develop it for you. Whether it makes sense or not to sell sofas as NFTs, don't want to get into that. There is a market, or there can be a market for many things. So that's the one thing. The other thing is, do you help small businesses with guidance to develop on your blockchain? Simple and easy question and answer, yes, we do. Then how can you help us if we were to develop on your blockchain using your Launchpad? Same again, the Launchpad is to start in the Web3, to get funding, for example, to help, so we help companies, for example, setting up their legal structure with our legal partners, looking for possibilities to implement tokens if it makes sense, and where to use blockchain. And if we go to use the blockchain and to develop on blockchains, this is where the Onino developer platform comes in. So you can, on one hand, either develop there yourself, use templates, use the AI assistant, or work with us. So this would be something for the Onino developer platform. Then the third question, or the last question, is any new projects about to launch, enter Onino, or any upcoming sales for the Onino Launchpad? Yes, but not too much we can tell you about just yet. So those are some of the projects that are subject to NDAs, or where it just doesn't make sense to talk about them already. So we will talk about them once we have information and once we're clear to talk about it. And with that, let's go to the team. Are you planning to expand your team? Can you do this soon? Also, when you plan to grow your small team, your success corresponds to your scale. But the further you go, the more tasks your team will face. What are your plans? So simple and easy again, yes, we are planning to expand the team. This will always depend on, have we proven a concept that we have? So for example, the Launchpad, the Onino developer platform, the Onino blockchain. We'll always scale the team when it really makes sense, when we see, okay, we do need more manpower, and we invest the manpower in something that makes sense and that can scale positively and benefit the Onino ecosystem. So this will always be on demand, and sometimes even strategically positioned if we want to, for example, go into a specific market or develop a specific product or feature. So we will do that, but we'll do it cautiously and carefully. And I think for the team size that we have, we are extremely efficient and extremely quick at the moment. And the people that we bring in, we want to bring them in cautiously and not too quickly, not to lose the agility that we have as a small startup, and to add as much value as possible and only add chosen people to the team, and not to blow it up by hiring too quickly and losing all the efficiency and processes that work so greatly. So this is a very long question. There has been a lot of chatter about the lack of marketing recently. Personally, I know you guys are putting in a lot of effort in the background, networking at major events, which brings exposure in ways that people don't see. However, the type of marketing people are wanting to see is things like more influencers talking about Oni, more content on socials, such as infographics and informational videos, news articles about innovative technology and crypto, and major news outlets, which can be submitted to CMC and CoinGecko, as well as shared around socials. That being said, other than the things that are already being worked on, are being done, as mentioned, networking and other things, we don't really see the 4 ambassadors, which I feel have not had any impact so far, and the current regular posts on socials. What else will you be doing to bring more eyes to Onino? Mainnet isn't far off, and we want people aware of Onino and ready to utilize the infrastructure and build on it. Waiting until after mainnet has been launched seems like it is too late, and there should be a build-up starting now. Very long question. First, I would like to pick up the 4 ambassadors, which this person feels have not had any impact so far. I would say that's not really true. We've seen great numbers with all the ambassadors, and we're really happy to have them. They aren't the biggest people you could have, but very specifically chosen, as the more people you have, the less specific their audience is. The big accounts, they have many bot followers from all over the world, and not really a specific niche. And they also don't really have this personality that a small account can have. So we've chosen accounts that we think have a great size to accompany us, to work with us at the specific point. And in regards to all the other marketing measures, there is not really any marketing measure we are opposed to. So they will all be used as a possibility once it really makes sense. At the moment, it makes most sense for us to have those in-person events. That's why we just do that at the moment. Well, not just do that, but that's why we do that at the moment specifically. And there will be other marketing measures in other points in time. I think for the ones that have been following us for a longer time, you all know that we do things a little differently, and we approach things less as us being a project and more of us being a company. And we, for example, have right from the start been very rigid and specific about following all the regulation there is, adhering to regulation that there is already in place and that will be in place soon. And this is sometimes the reason also why you see us doing things or not doing things that others do. Sometimes out of regulatory compliance, sometimes because we think it's not really sustainable. So everything about Onino is making blockchain easily accessible to the ones that want to use it and want to work with it. And this goes also for the smaller things, like marketing. And we could, of course, take half the token supply and do a big airdrop, and we would have many followers, but that wouldn't be sustainable. So we'll never do that. And there's many reasons for many marketing measures that we will not apply or just apply in different measure than you used to. And I think adding new things to the table, just like us following or joining conferences everywhere in the world, I think is something great and something that is very sustainable and brings us to the right people, which may sometimes not be even active on Twitter or other social media. So long story short, marketing is being done, more marketing will be done, and you don't need to be scared that there will not be enough projects. Onino is different to many other projects, so you may not see things at our marketing that you see there, but you may also see different things that you don't see anywhere else. And there will be more done, of course, but I don't think this is something that you need to be scared of. And with that, let's jump right into the live questions. I see there have been many questions in the chat, so let's start at the top and see what we have there. So first question is from Eddie. Are onboarding of ambassador roles still open? In theory, yes. It's a very case-by-case deal, so we look at the people very individually and see if it makes sense. So if you are interested, just apply. We'll scan your application, and if we think that you're the perfect fit for Onino, we may choose you. But don't be confused if you don't get any answer. I think we had a couple of hundreds applications. We can't answer all of them, so we'll reach out if we're interested. If we don't, then unfortunately we're not. And we hope you understand. So
it is not exactly a question, more a statement that turned into a question by Niels. Other crypto projects are focusing much on the chart. It makes me wonder how sustainable are they really? And I just want to give my 5 cents to that. And like our focus right from the start always was, on the one hand, learn as much as we can from people that want to use blockchain technology, either right now or in the future, to understand what their problem is and then can pinpoint that problem and solve that problem for them. Ultimately, having a proposition that we can sell them and something that we can sell them in terms of why they should build with Onino to solve the problem. And then also building up on that foundation to have like a sustainable technology, but not only a sustainable technology, but also a sustainable company framework around it, because any company will ultimately run on money flowing in and out of a system. So you have to be able to pay wages, you have to be able to pay for any systems you operate, and then you also have to be able to generate enough that you can continue doing that in the next months, the next years. And we've seen a huge bubble of overfunded networks that receive multiple millions of deals, and also many projects just coming out of the blue in general. And like, I can give you an insight on something. We were somewhere and talked with a person, and they were really surprised in how do you earn money without selling your own native token. And we are firm believers that you can't build a palace on fragile ground. So we've taken so much time of the last few years in building exactly that foundation, understanding the market, building our network, to build something that can be sustainable rather than building something that is only sustainable until an artificial market bubble bursts. And that is something that I really want to emphasize in terms of that we do see this as a real company that provides a decentralized infrastructure and provides update to that infrastructure, and not just a project, which is really important and which is part of a marathon, of course, and nothing that is done in a short time.
All right, I've been scrolling through. I haven't seen any more questions. Kai Lucas, have you seen anything else?
Me neither.
But I've seen many nice words, so thank you very much for the support. Thank you for being happy about the news we spread, and we're happy to be able to spread them as well.
Yes, and for everyone that is already eager to use the apps provided by Change and interact with the interoperability features and also their completely aggregated liquidity and swap solutions, there will be a more detailed announcement following when every step of the integration is finished, and much more news in that front will be coming to you.
All right, I would say let's end it here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for listening, and hear and see you next month in the next community update.
Thank you all for joining. Have a great week, everyone.
Goodbye. Thank